ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in tonight's Comic Book Club. Here are your hosts, LegPage, Justin Tyler, and Alex Zalben.
I'm Justin.
I am Pete.
And that's our band, the Booth Band. So,
Super Bell.
guys, let's bring the tone down a little.
Yeah, we peaked low. Keep it low.
We're falling apart.
We are. Okay, so on the subway, my glasses cracked in half. So there's my old glasses.
That's a nerd crisis, right? I don't know. I have perfect vision.
You're a douchebag. Unbelievable. But anyway, if I get dizzy and fall asleep during the show, that's why. Second thing, the projector broke.
Yeah! Damn you!
That's why we have a Tonight Show vibe going on.
Yeah. And third thing, unfortunately, our guest for this evening, Tom Brevoort, canceled at the last second.
The last second. The very last second.
Literally 1 second before the show, he was here and then he disappeared.
Yeah. If you see him during the show.
But he will be back at a later point. He had to break in a new editor, is what happened.
Scroll.
Yeah.
Good point.
Nice.
But we are very excited to have another guest.
Yes,
here.
we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan White! For the amount of times you've seen the show.
Yeah, I probably should have walked up there, but I did.
So Jordan, you work as an assistant editor at Marvel.
That is absolutely correct.
What books do you work on?
Okay, I work on a whole bunch. Eternals, Skaar, Son of Hulk.
Yeah. Big week for those books.
A couple of
They came out.
the Marvel Adventures books, Marvel Adventures Spider-Man, Marvel Adventures Hulk, Anita Blake, Lords of Avalon, all the Chris Claremont books, which is New Exiles, Gen X, the upcoming Big Hero 6, and then also a book called Age of Sentry, which is going to be awesome as well. That's what I'm really excited about.
You said Age of Sentry, not
Age of
Century.
the age of the century.
Ah.
Well, because I would be on board for Asian Century.
The 21st century is known as the Asian
Well,
century.
you know, Psylocke got magically turned Asian. You never know. Could happen to Sentry as well.
Yeah.
So what does an assistant editor do at Marvel? I mean, other than working on all of those books, I mean, what specifically, day to day, what is your job responsibility?
Basically, there's kind of two parts to it. One is trafficking stuff around. So
Milkshakes.
Not milkshakes. Making sure that the script gets to the penciler, and the pencils get to the inker, and the ink gets to the colorist, and
The ink gets in the pen.
making
You're
sure,
like a mule.
making sure that they have paper to draw on. I do actually have to make sure. Not by physically bringing it to them,
They
but
just
by
sit there and
sending
be
it.
like,
You know, they're artists. They might do that. I don't know.
Slam!
Is it tough to crack the whip? You have to like
Sometimes.
walk into people's office and be like, "Why aren't you working?"
Well, no, because that would be very awkward. Most of them live very far away.
Oh, okay.
If you showed up now.
If I walked into their offices, they'd be very shocked. Because yeah, very few of these people are at the Marvel offices.
Okay.
For the most part, the Marvel offices is just, mostly editors and other businessy people. All the stuff is sent to us over the internet, so most of them are pretty far away. But the other thing that we do, in addition to that, is making sure that everything is good when it gets where it needs to go. So, we do a lot of notes on things, like notes on scripts and notes on pencils, making sure that the art matches the script, making sure that the lettering is not completely wrong, or there's not a ton of typos, which sometimes we have typos anyway.
Now, what happens when there's a mistake?
Shame.
Who yells at you? Does someone yell at you?
Well,
Or do
mostly,
you yell at other people?
mostly they laugh at us. They'll point at us. And
That's worse. Yeah. We're very disappointed in you.
We actually, all right, I'll reveal that we made a mistake on a comic that came out, I think, last week, maybe the week before.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
Was it releasing Secret Invasion 2?
No,
It was like a button.
Yeah.
in Gen X number 2.
And it was the best-selling book.
In Gen X number 2, we accidentally said that Beast was Henry Pym.
Oh, anybody catch that? Gen X 2?
We got people who wrote in and were like, I thought this book was perfect, but then I saw that and I can't recommend it to anyone anymore.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So,
Is it tough to tell people like, "Hey, your penciling blows on this"?
well, yeah.
I
It
think
would be
probably
very
it's
tough
better
to say
than
that.
No,
We
it's
don't
easy.
we don't tend to say that. We tend to be like,
I probably couldn't have that job.
Assistant editor Pete LePage. Fuck you. Disclaimer.
you definitely don't do that.
Do your job, Vita Jr. Stop blowing with your art and unblow.
Yeah, start rocking.
You got to be a lot more gracious than that. You got to be much more encouraging and, oh, this is really good so far. We just were thinking maybe we could try this,
Nice.
Not like
Cool.
redoing the whole page. Oh, it's
My
great.
mom says that
Can
to
you
me
do
all
it
the
one more time? No, it's more like we look at something and we go, all right, well, what needs to be improved, and we just try to be as gracious about it as we can and not tell people that they suck. Most of them don't suck, so we don't have that problem too much.
Nice.
I know that the answer to this question is going to be there's no specific way, but how did you get your job at Marvel?
Basically, I tried to get it.
Wow.
I wanted to work at Marvel. I knew I was coming to move to the city, and I was like, well, you know what I'd like to do in the city? Work at Marvel. And I went online and said, what do they got open? Oh, assistant editor? Oh, that's what I want. Apply.
Just
Click the box.
Do you have any experience?
The Great
before?
American Tale.
I had no experience in publishing, but I had experience in stuff that was related. I was doing lots of radio stuff for a few years before that. A lot of
In the 1920s.
in the 1920s, a lot of radio serials in the 1920s, and therefore there was a lot of story experience in that. I was overseeing a bunch of writers. I was getting people to write stuff for me, basically, as well as writing myself, and then giving lots of story notes on that. So I kind of developed a lot of storytelling skills through that, and the ability to talk to people about how to make their stories better.
Cool. Now, were you like, hey, I'm a big fan of Marvel during the interview, or are you like, I'm a comic book nerd, or do you think that works against you or for you?
How much did you suck up to them?
Yeah.
Really the
Well, I don't think I didn't see. That's the thing. I didn't have to suck up because I am like a tremendous comic book nerd.
Right.
So I was being honest. I didn't have to be like, guess what? I really like your comics. I knew I've got way too many freaking comic books. I read so many comic books. It's really not funny at all.
You're not talking to the right people.
I probably have more comics than any of you.
Whoa!
If not,
That's threw down the gauntlet.
Yeah,
right there.
and I can remember
I
my
have,
boners.
well, some of them are my wife's. She has a pretty tremendous collection of Archie comics.
That doesn't
Between
count.
us,
That doesn't count.
Did you guys get a copy?
I don't know how many we each have, but between us, I know we have over 10,000.
You're talking a big game for not knowing
Over
your numbers.
10,000 comics.
Done. Let's do this. Back to back. Bring him in.
What do you
Bring him in. Santa. Yes, Virginia. There is a comic book fan. Santa Claus.
But overall, what has been your number one moment, would you say, most geek out moment for
Working in Marvel.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for helping me.
I was too excited not to.
My most geek out moment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Every day.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, sometimes I'm walking around and I'm just like, wait. I work at Marvel. Like, that's awesome.
Wow.
Probably the best one is that this thing of the book I was just talking about, The Age of the Sentry. It kind of comes from I've liked the character of the Sentry for a while, but the reason we're doing the series is because I was sitting there and I was kind of like, we should do a series of just Silver Age Sentry comics. That's all it is. It's not like, it's not new Sentry and he flashes back like he normally does. It's just all the straight up old comics. And I was like, well, I brought this idea to Mark Panicia, my editor, and he's like, that sounds like a lot of fun. And the fact that that comic is happening is just makes me so happy every day. Every time we get art from it or designs from people or the scripts from it, I'm just blown away because I'm like, this is a comic that I was like, can we do this? And we're doing it. That kills me every time.
I feel like if I had that job, it would be like the Mike's Hard Lemonade commercial. Where it would be like, I'd be like, okay, here's this new idea. Punisher kills everyone. Pete, just go back to your corner.
You have a corner office in your bed.
I like that you use Mike's Hard Lemonade as a point in a lot of your life choices.
Yeah.